Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming. Welcome to At the Post Live. It's week number 4 of the show. Thanks so much. Appreciate you coming out with a little bit of rain in the area. It seems like things have turned. It's gotten nice and chilly, actually, which is nice. And I'm excited to have our show tonight. Some of my favorite people, actually, in racing, including my good friend Larry Collmus, who is back for his second visit. Your second visit? First time in about 3 years, Larry?
It's been 5 years, actually.
No,
Not
it can't
that
be
I'm
5
counting.
years. You've only been here. This is your 5th year, so
It is.
4 years.
I actually started with you the day before my first day at Saratoga. I remember I was here
2015?
2015, so I guess 4 years.
Right.
Not that anybody's counting.
It is your 5th year. Been 4 years. Does it feel like it's been that long?
It's been pretty crazy. I mean, I got here, obviously, in 2015, and I knew what to expect because I had been to Saratoga a bunch of times, as a fan, but I had never been the guy that got to call the races.
You called once, right? Didn't you have one day you called going way back?
Way, way back. It was 2001 that I had a chance to call it Saratoga, and that was like a last-minute thing. But this year, or 2015 would have been my first full-time year, and it was spectacular.
Is replacing a legend like Tom Durkin sort of, I mean, obviously it's a coveted job and a job you've wanted, but does that make it a little more difficult, replacing somebody of Tom's stature?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I heard about it so many times. Big shoes to fill. You've got to be, on your game to fill in and be the next guy after Tom Durkin, and they were right because the guy was an absolute legend here for 24 years, and it's been just a tremendous experience. I mean, I still have a bunch of people, and you make fun of me because I like to walk around before the races and meet everybody and say hi to all the people in the backyard, and so many people come up and they say, hey, we didn't think anybody'd be able to replace Tom, and we're really happy that you did, and nothing makes me feel better than when people say that.
Well, it's obviously a job that, like I said, it's coveted, but it's a tough situation. Calling in Saratoga, I mean, obviously wherever you've called, you're going to do the best job that you can, and you've called in quite a few places, and we'll talk about it. But do you feel in Saratoga more people are watching?
They are.
There
right.
are
more people watching.
I mean, I feel that way. I feel as though, if you do something stupid here, more people notice it.
There's no question about it. I mean, you have not only a live audience, which you get to see. Now, when I'm calling the races at Belmont Park, I don't see anybody. I'm up on the 7th floor, and, obviously there's not as many people there, but you don't even see them because you're way up there. At Saratoga,
I'm above Larry at Belmont.
Yeah, you're up on the 8th floor, but you're not up there that often. Anyway, it's like a fishbowl here at Saratoga. I mean, I look out and I see the turf terrace, and I look down and I see all the people standing on the apron, and you realize right there it's a live studio audience, and then you have everybody watching everywhere. So you want to be on your game. You want to be able to call these races, and it is and Tom Durkin referred to the announcer's booth at Saratoga as the world's worst booth. And I understand what he's saying because it is so tough to call there because there's obstacles in your way. You've got all these posts and stanchions and trees everywhere. You're low. It's hard to see. So you really have to be on your game. Belmont in that booth, you see everything. You've got that wide panoramic view. Saratoga, absolutely everything is in your way, and you just ignore it because hey, I'm at Saratoga. Who cares? I get to call the races at Saratoga. I don't care what's in my way. It's a blast. It's fantastic.
Do you ever find that you lose horses around the trees or anywhere?
Sometimes. What's really hard is actually getting ready for the races at Saratoga because you need the horses to come in front of you. I have to memorize every horse in every race, and these horses, they come in front of you in front of the stands, and you get them really quick because once they go into the backstretch, they're behind tree after tree after tree, and you can't find them anymore. They're headed to the gate for a 6-furlong race. I'm like, okay, let me look at them one more time. I don't see any horses. There's nobody out there. They're all behind the trees. So you got to get them really quick.
We need more people to have the colors like our friend Ron Palucci, who's here with Luch Racing with those lime green silks. They're like an announcer's dream, right?
Yes, lime green, blue pea, 2 hoops, and a blue cap. Got it, right?
pink silks. Pink silks or Gary Barber silks are good.
We
Gary
love
and Mary West.
yeah, we love all those standout silks. They do help. And what we don't like is when there's more than one owner in a race with the same silks. We had that actually, and our jocks room does such a great job. In the Saratoga Dude today, Chester and Mary Broman had three of the 6 horses in the race, and that's how I get ready to call these races. I have to, study the silks of every horse in the race, and those 3 horses had exactly the same colors. Luckily, our friends in the jockeys room put a green and white cap on one, a green cap on one, and a white cap on the other, and that's the way and there was only 6 in the race, so I couldn't screw that up too bad.
In New York, since you've got here, besides American Pharoah, what were some of your most memorable calls?
Well, American Pharoah is tough to beat. First of all, there's nothing like calling a Triple Crown. I mean, it's something I could have never imagined that I could possibly do and be involved in. But when American Pharoah won that Belmont Stakes, it was incredible. I'd say memories here at Saratoga, probably the biggest one was when he lost in the Travers, which was pretty amazing when Keen Ice beat him. And I have to say that I take partial blame for that, the fact that he lost. And the reason being is Bob Baffert, I had texted him the week of the Travers. And during the Triple Crown, when I'm calling these races for NBC, I want to be able to concentrate on my job, and I don't get a chance to really go out and see all the horses and meet them. And I kept hearing about how cool American Pharoah was and what a neat horse he was. And I said, Bob, is there any way that I can meet American Pharoah Travers Week? He said, absolutely. We're going to have him go around the track the day before the race, which 18,000 people showed up in the morning, by the way.
That was crazy.
Unfreaking believable. So I go back after the race to the barn, and I am not a hands-on horse person whatsoever, just so you know. So I go back there. Shocking enough. I go back there, and Bob Baffert says, hey, let's get some pictures. So American Pharoah was cooling out after his morning exercise. I'm standing right in the middle with Bob Baffert. He brings American Pharoah over to me, hands me his lead, and walks away. I am holding the Triple Crown winner with no one else around me. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, I'm okay. I'm not going to kill you or anything. It's going to be fine. And it was, I couldn't believe it. And Jill Baffert, Bob's wife, is taking pictures of the whole thing. And I'm like, am I holding the Triple Crown winner here?
So you think this is why he got beat?
I think that's why he got beat, yeah. Because comes back the next day, he loses.
Probably the reason.
Probably the reason.
Victor Espinoza would feel a lot of relief hearing this. It wasn't actually his fault either. So we've talked about Saratoga and being here with us at NYRA. Where was the first place you called? Was it Suffolk or was it Birmingham or somewhere else?
The first race I ever called was at a track that doesn't exist anymore, Bowie, in Maryland.
Oh.
1985.
Well, it exists. It just doesn't exist. It's a racetrack, right.
I was the backup announcer on the Maryland circuit for 2 years. I grew up there. And that's where I called my first race in June 3rd of 1985. Tiara's Flame was the name of the horse. King Leatherberry was the trainer. Alberto Delgado was the jockey. I don't remember much else except for the fact that my binoculars were shaking like a leaf, and I was as nervous as you could possibly be. I was only 18 years old at the time. So, yeah, I did 2 years on the Maryland circuit, went to Birmingham, Alabama, called the races there 1 year.
Just 1 year at Birmingham? It's a nice track, Birmingham.
Yeah, it was
I've been
pretty
there.
cool. Yeah, we had a good time there. Now, everybody that worked at Birmingham was from somewhere else because there was nobody with any history of racing in Birmingham. So they brought in all the racing officials from other tracks, and we all got to be good friends. In fact, I saw a few of them at the sales last night.
Really?
So that was pretty neat. 32 years later, so I did 1 year at Birmingham. Then I called 4 years at Golden Gate Fields.
Really?
In Northern California, and then I got the job at Suffolk Downs in beautiful East Boston, Massachusetts, and was there for quite a long time, as well as Monmouth Park. It was a circuit for me, the two places, for a long time, and I started Monmouth in '94, Suffolk in '92, and then on to Gulfstream.
So
and
it's
from
tough
there,
to see
you know.
Suffolk close, though. I mean,
I know.
New England's such a great racing area, and it's really all those racetracks that were up there, that so many, Rockingham and Suffolk and even a place like Lincoln Downs, and they're all gone now.
When I walk around, as I was saying before, and see the grounds, talk to people before the races, I have more people from Boston than anywhere else that stop me to say hello. And there's so many Boston people and Massachusetts people that go to Saratoga, and I remember you from Suffolk Downs, kid. You've come a long way. And I'm like, I never saw you at Suffolk Downs. How come you never went there? You know, but they all come to the spa, and yeah, it's fantastic.
I was talking to somebody in the train station in Boston. I was up there for a Red Sox game. I was coming back the next day, and I started talking to one of the guys at the train station. He stops by the booth usually and says hi sometime. We have a lot of great fans from up there, and it's tough to see their racing go down.
Yeah,
so
sad.
How many years did you call it Gulfstream?
I called the Gulfstream for 10 years. Started in 2007, and I called there through 2016.
It's a tough gig.
It is a tough gig. I mean, especially toward the end when they were running 12, 13 races a day, and so that got to be a little bit much. And that's when I finally said, yeah, let's just stick with NYRA and NBC, and it's worked out well because I want to keep doing this for a long time.
How did working for NBC and calling? You took over from Tom Durkin for calling Breeders' Cup and the Triple Crown races?
Triple Crown is where it started. I'll try to make this story quick because it was a pretty cool story. I was actually calling the races at Gulfstream Park, and the phone rang in the announcer's booth, and I'm thinking, who could this be? Now it's April at Gulfstream. Things are almost dead. Pretty much everybody is already gone to Keeneland or wherever they're going to go. And so I get this phone call, and the guy says, hi, I'm Fred Gadelli. I'm the producer for the Triple Crown for NBC Sports, and we want to talk to you. And I'm thinking to myself, what could this guy want? Maybe he wants me to, give him permission to use a Florida Derby call or something like that. And I said, oh, sure, Fred. What would you like? And he says, well, we want to talk to you about calling the Triple Crown. And so my first thought is, okay, what friend of mine is sick enough to play a joke on me and get my hopes up like this? There's no way this is real. It was real. So the guy said, can you fly up to Manhattan? I go up to Manhattan, fly into LaGuardia, meet all the brass at NBC Sports, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And I'm in this guy's office, and I see this guy walk in the door, and I recognize him. He was Dick Ebersol, who was the chairman of NBC Sports. He was the big dude at NBC Sports. He was the boss, right? And I'm thinking, whoa, this is cool. So he walks in, and he walks right past me to Fred Gadelli. He says, hey, how about that Sunday Night Football schedule that came out? And all they talk about is Sunday Night Football. I'm like, oh, okay, this guy don't want to talk to me. So he's walking out. He turns around, and he looks at me, and apparently he was privy to my questionable decision whether I thought this was real or not. Turns around and goes, hey, Larry, do you believe us now? And I do at that point, things look good. So I fly back to Fort Lauderdale, meet a friend at the bar. I'm in the bathroom where the phone rings, and Fred Gadelli, the producer, calls me back and said, I just want to welcome you to NBC Sports. And I went outside, and I screamed at the top of my lungs. I couldn't believe it, and it was a life changer. It really was, and it led to this, and now I get to call it the greatest racetrack in the world.
Well, Larry, we appreciate you calling the greatest racetrack in the world, and we appreciate you stopping by at the Post Live. So thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks, everybody.